progress in the vote count has caused some major shifts in the presidential race. I'm Kelly Eckerman.
And I'm Laura Moritz. Joe Biden has taken a lead over President Trump in the key battleground states of Pennsylvania and Georgia. KMBC 9's Haley Harrison continues following the race results. Haley?
Well, the electoral vote count has not yet changed, but the president's path to re-election appears to be narrowing. CNN is reporting that the president hasn't prepared a concession speech and has told allies that he has no plans to concede if he loses. Joe Biden is leading the vote count in Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Arizona. Meanwhile, in Georgia, where Biden is ahead by just 1,500 votes, the Republican governor said he is confident that the Republican Secretary of State will ensure that those ballots are being properly counted. ABC is reporting that Biden plans to address the nation in a primetime speech tonight. An appearance from the president hasn't been ruled out yet. In a statement, President Trump said that this is no longer about any single election. It is about the integrity of our entire election process. Kelly.
This afternoon, we know that Joe Biden is getting extra protection from the U.S. Secret Service. Dozens of agents have been providing security for the Democratic candidate at the Chase Center on the riverfront in Wilmington, Delaware. Now, additional airspace security measures have also been implemented. A 1-mile radius no-fly zone is now active over Biden's Wilmington home until next Wednesday morning.
One person who could have a lot of influence in a Biden presidency is Kansas City Congressman Emanuel Cleaver. Our Michael Mahoney is here. Michael, why is this?
Well, Congressman Cleaver was with the Joe Biden campaign when Biden wasn't cool. In other words, very early on. And Cleaver is one of the few senior congressional Democrats in this entire region. And Cleaver knows it.
I may very well be called upon by the president to help him in some of the critical things he has to do in those areas and do rather quickly.
Areas like who will lead the many federal regional headquarters here, like transportation, the IRS, and perhaps the Department of Justice and the U.S. Attorney. Cleaver is now the senior congressional Democrat for the lower Midwest. He could have a big influence.
He will. This is something that certainly all of us in Kansas City government have been thinking about for a while, too.
One of Biden's last conventional campaign stops before the virus shutdown was here in Kansas City with Cleaver just before he won the Missouri primary. Cleaver also expects to be the new chairman of the subcommittee supervising the Housing and Urban Development Department. And he wants to expand affordable new housing stock.
But I'm not talking about projects and Section 8 housing. I'm talking about affordable housing, middle income housing like those you see in Beacon Hills.
Mayor Lucas hopes that helps him with his housing trust fund plan, adding Cleaver's potential pull in the Biden White House could go beyond that.
And I think he's somebody that the administration will call on nonstop to try to make sure things are done.
Now, the federal presence here is very big. They're the top employer in the area. 27,000 workers just here in the metro area, 38,000 if you include Leavenworth. And Cleaver could end up being like a third senator. Laura?
And Michael, meantime, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley says he will introduce election integrity legislation. The Republican is saying after this week, it's clear the United States needs new election laws. He wants to ban ballot harvesting, guarantee poll watcher access, and make ballot counting transparent.
People who worked at a Missouri polling place are concerned about their health after learning one of the poll workers tested positive for COVID-19. She died the day after the election. Jasmine Payute has the latest now from St. Charles County.
That shouldn't have happened. She shouldn't have let that happen. The city shouldn't have let it happen.
It's a disease that health officials say requires compassion. And a woman who asked not to be identified says an acquaintance showed none when she worked the polls in St. Charles County after testing positive for COVID-19.
I'm disappointed in her as a friend and neighbor, and I'm just disappointed.
Officials announcing Thursday the election supervisor tested positive for the virus October 30th, broke quarantine, and worked on Election Day. She died the next morning as ballots were still being counted.
I'm not going to lie, my first thought was how completely irresponsible to do something that you know you shouldn't be doing when asked to quarantine.
The woman, who we're not identifying, worked at the county precinct at Blanchett Park Memorial Hall Tuesday. Annie Zinfer was there that day with her family.
One has to hope that most people are a little bit more responsible than that.
She was one of more than 1,850 people who cast their ballot here. That's not including the 9 other poll workers who are currently being asked to quarantine and seek testing.
Why did they make this choice? Why did they, work a very long and taxing day? And why did they risk putting somebody else in danger?
St. Charles County Board of Elections Director Kurt Barr says all election workers were mandated to wear masks or face shields at all times. But poll workers were not asked if they had COVID-19 prior.
I know that this election worker felt very strongly about working the election, that this election was important. And so I'm sure that was their motivation.
No matter the reason, some call this risk to others unnecessary.
Take precautions. If you think that you've been exposed, stay home. Don't expose anybody else.
A spokesperson says the worker who died was a supervisor and that job does not typically include working closely with voters. We are running the results as they come in at the bottom of your screen from the 6 states that have not been called. You can also stay up to date on the presidential vote count anytime you want on our KMBC 9 News app. You can also get updates at KMBC.com by clicking the Commitment 2020 tab.